Okay, I feel bad. This is a couple of videos now in a row where we're talking about some rumors, all right? But today's video, guys, is a juicy one, man. We got some crazy rumors about Marvel's Wolverine, which we know is in development at Insomniac, and also a potential Venom game, which Insomniac has teased as something they would work on if the fans wanted something like that. Again, though, as I have been saying in the last couple of videos, guys, this is all rumor. None of this is fact. Take it with a grain of salt, and don't take this as confirmation that a Venom game is going to be happening. Don't take any of the information I'm reporting about Wolverine here as fact either. I don't want to disappoint anybody, and I don't want to be the messenger that people go after, okay? I am just talking rumors here. That's all we should treat it as until we hear some official word from Insomniac. But if a Venom game is something that you would be excited about, if that's something that you want, hit that thumbs up button and also subscribe. Turn on those notifications here on the channel, guys. Lots of rumors are pointing towards a new state of play in a couple of weeks and maybe a new trailer for Wolverine. If all that does end up happening, I got you guys covered right here on the channel. But okay, we've got some reporting here from MP First. They put out an article with a ton of information that they are exclusively reporting with their headline reading, report Marvel's Wolverine aims for a 2026 release. Venom project still in development. Now, if you guys want to read the entire article, I'll leave it in the description box below. I'm just going to pull a couple of excerpts that I found interesting. One of the things they said here is that the most important information that MP First has received from their main source is that Wolverine is still on track for a 2026 release. And Venom has been in active development. While we haven't been able to determine how advanced the Venom project is, if we assume Wolverine remains the priority, it's likely the game is still in pre-production. So, okay, we have already been speculating that here on the channel. If everything that people are saying is to be true, that there's a new state of play coming up at the end of the month, and there's going to be a new trailer for Wolverine, I said if that ends up happening, well, then I think that Wolverine's coming out next year. It just kind of aligns with exactly what PlayStation did with Ghost of Yotei last year. State of play reveal, the game comes out in a year. So I do think fall 2026, we can see or we can expect that Wolverine game to come out. And based on what MP First here is saying in their article, it looks like that's what they have heard is the case. But the bombshell, you know, the big chunk of news here is that they're also hearing that a Venom game is happening and that it's in active development. Now, we have talked a lot about the idea of a Venom game, all right? Obviously, that is something that a ton of people would be super hyped about. And Insomniac themselves, before Marvel Spider-Man 2 even came out, said that's something that they would listen to the fans about if it was something that the fans were interested in. And it just felt so specific to call that out, because to say, hey, if the fans are hungry for a Venom game, we would listen, we would try to see if that's something we could explore. I just feel like that's too specific to point out if it wasn't something that was already in the cards at Insomniac. And so I say that as well as the reason to be like, you know, if any of these rumors don't end up true, you could just kind of guess that these are sort of things going on right now. To continue with the article, though, they mention here something that I found extremely interesting. There's also some details from the story of the Venom game that they got from a different source, but since we couldn't verify these, we recommend that you take these tidbits with a grain of salt. So again, rumor, not true, not fact. They're not even 100% sure if what they're being told here is true. They're telling you guys all to be careful, tread lightly with what you're reading here. They said one of these things would be that Eddie Brock will take the protagonist's role. This might seem obvious to some given what happened to the last user of the symbiote in Spider-Man 2. Still, it helps us to rule out the possibility of other symbiote users taking the lead, such as Flash Thompson, who was Agent Venom in the comics, or even an original character. We also know that, at least visually, this Eddie Brock will be closer to his comic book counterpart, more so than his live-action rendition played by Tom Hardy in the Venom films. I'm hearing cheering from all of the Venom fans around the world. If this all ends up being true, you guys won. A potential Venom game with Eddie Brock taking the role as Venom, as the lead protagonist. I imagine that's something that is a dream for the big Venom fans out there. And to hear that, again, if all this is true, that he'll look very similar to how the character does in the comic books and that they're not trying to synergize anything with any of the films that were made. That's also great to hear. We do know that Eddie Brock is a character that exists within Insomniac's Spider-Man universe. He signed that goodbye card to Peter when he left the Daily Bugle. So this character is out there somewhere and is maybe even friends with, to some extent, Peter Parker. So there's like some sort of ties there that I feel they could build something off of if they were to be making a Venom game. And you know, we've mentioned time and time again, there's a playable Venom mission in Marvel Spider-Man 2. You've already got the foundation there for what the gameplay could be like. Now you just need to expand on it, you know, introduce some sort of traversal, maybe make the combat a little bit different considering the host is different now with the Venom symbiote in this instance. And I know that for a lot of us out there who have wanted this to be a game that is made from Insomniac, and for a lot of us out there who have even speculated about it, we're all kind of assuming that it's going to be something that is of the same size of Spider-Man Miles Morales. Not a full-fledged, you know, massive AAA title, but something that's a bit smaller, a bit more bite-sized. That way we're not too hungry by the time we get to a Marvel Spider-Man 3. The article also mentions that from what they are hearing, it sounds like Carnage will be the main villain of this Venom game. If all of this does shake out to be true, that's also what we were all kind of speculating and what we all kind of want. It makes a ton of sense as well. That's such a huge loose thread from Spider-Man 2. You know, that side mission was honestly so amazing, but it really does leave the door wide open. We all thought it was going to be for TLC, and we were all kind of disappointed that that's not the case. But I do feel like it would be worth that disappointment we felt to know that there wasn't any Spider-Man 2 DLC, to know that the reason behind that was because they were making a Venom game. The only thing that I'm wondering though is like, will it be Miles Morales sized? You're talking about introducing Eddie Brock, getting him involved with the symbiote, and then setting up Carnage as the big bad, and how that whole thing will go down. Like, how are they going to be butting heads? How does all that happen? I have no idea. But, you know, we're talking about Spider-Man 3. There's one last little thing here from this article that I'm very intrigued by, but I'm also a little cautious about, I'm not gonna lie. Something that it worries me ever so slightly. The article here says, as a final note, we've come across some clues that suggest that Insomniac is currently working to include Miguel O'Hara, also known as Spider-Man 2099, in one of their projects. While we don't know if it will be in Venom, it's more likely that this is related to Spider-Man 3. As some may remember, the multiverse was hinted at through a mission in the last game of the series as a tie-in to the Spider-Verse movies. So, okay, I get it. Like, these Spider-Verse movies are huge and it's interesting. You know, you kind of want to play around with all these different spider characters. It could be very fun, sure, but I really don't want them to go there. You know, I think Spider-Man 2099 should be Spider-Man 2099. I think everything they're doing in those Spider-Verse movies is excellent, but it works contained within those animated films. I don't think that that's something that works within kind of the rules and parameters that are set within the Spider-Man games. But rest assured, the redacted guy over on Twitter, who, by the way, reported a lot of the stuff that MP First was talking about before they even made this article, he ended up quoting their report on this part specifically and said that he heard something similar, but all it will be, unless scrapped, will simply be a small tie-in for Beyond the Spider-Verse, like the Spider-Bot mission from Spider-Man 2. That makes a lot more sense to me. And again, that feels like a very educated guess to make. If it's in the Venom game, if it's in Spider-Man 3, who knows? But it does feel like that's something that Insomniac would maybe be interested in. And to be honest, he's saying there in brackets, unless it's scrapped. That very much could end up happening too, because who knows how far out something like Marvel Spider-Man 3 could be. And if Beyond the Spider-Verse does come out in 2027, you're going to be far removed from that movie. So having an Easter egg or having some sort of reference to Miguel O'Hara might not even make any sense, really. Or maybe you just like the pop culture moment will have come and gone by that point. So I'm not sure if that's something that they'll stick to. But if it does end up happening, if we do see Miguel O'Hara in some way, shape, or form, and it's in the form of an Easter egg that was similar to that side quest from Marvel Spider-Man 2, that's something that I think would be cool. I think I'd be totally okay with that. It's just if we were to see like Miguel O'Hara as a side character or just a character in general that's introduced in the Insomniac universe, I'm not sure how I'd feel about it. Mainly because Marvel Spider-Man 3 already has so much going on in that game. We're gonna have the setup of Green Goblin teaming up with Doc Ock. We need to know how Peter's coming out of retirement. We've got the introduction now of Silk and how they're gonna handle all that. So we might have 3 spider people in the same universe, in the same game. It's so much that Insomniac has to juggle. I'm really hoping they're going to be able to pull it off. Regardless, tons of rumors right now, just so much for us to talk about here on the channel. A lot that I would hope to come true, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. We are all crossing our fingers, okay, that there is a state of play at the end of the month and that there is a new trailer for Wolverine. I'm gonna be all over it with the coverage here on the channel. So again, make sure you got those noties on. And with that being said, I'm now gonna kick it to you guys. Sound off with your thoughts in the comments section below. What do you think about all this information here in the video? Sound off with everything you have to say in the comments. I've been Caboose. I'll see you guys later.